Tzvi Friedman on Chabad.org talks about technology, and he says in the book of Genesis, it's not a book of stories, it's a book of prototypes by the author of all prototypes, and we develop technology to empower human beings, providing them greater dominion over their environment, greater convenience, a higher standard of living. Yet ironically, our obsession with technology often diminishes the value of the individual human lives it is coming to enhance. For example, the treatment of factory workers since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, or the rise of the communist and fascist ideologies of the 20th century, or the algorithms and AI that increasingly dominate our daily lives today. Technology demands of its creators efficiency, and the greatest hindrance to technological efficiency is this quirky bug that all human beings are different from one another. Our diversity renders us less predictable, creates demands for special instances, and leaves far more room for error. If only all human beings would be the same, technology would be so much easier. If only all human beings would be the same, all the pieces would look the same, they'd all be placed the same way at the same rate, causing growth to be faster, easier. Truthfully, we're mostly the same, and the genetic difference between any two human beings averages at around 0.1%, a lot less than most animals. But that 0.1% provides us art, music, science, joy and love, drama, meaning, and self-worth. If you wipe that out, there's no life that's sacred. We all become just another number, another brick in the wall. Freeman Dyson calls it, called diversity the ruling law of the universe. Freeman Dyson calls diversity the ruling law of the universe. Technology has the power to take advantage of that diversity and empower the individual or wipe it out. In berachot, the Talmud, berachot 58a, it says the Talmud, one of the sections of the Talmud. I just want to read that line one more time. Freeman Dyson called diversity the ruling law of the universe, and technology has the power to take advantage of that diversity and empower the individual or wipe it out. So berachot 58a says, the sages of the Talmud were intensely aware of the value of human diversity and the tendency to sweep it all aside when dealing with large masses of people. One who sees the multitudes of Israel should say, blessed are you, God, our God, who is wise about all secrets, because all their minds and faces are different, all the people. When you build without purpose only to be famous or to make lots of money or stay ahead of the competition, then you only see a mass of people out there. And your technology treats them that way because it's easier to modify a person and their behaviors to fit the experience of those that fit in your data group, rather than the intensive labor it takes for a machine to truly customize your individual experience. The result is our connectivity polarizes us, breeding depression and undermining the self-esteem of the healthy development of adolescence. We're the product, not the consumer, not the master. Consumers are the advertisers who want our eyeballs. And the most efficient way for them to get that is to reduce me to a blob. In other words, if you fell off the web tower, the loss that would be mourned is the potential data that could have been farmed. Imagine technology was truly customized for unique talents and concerns, empowering algorithms that improve life and help us attain goals, and connect us with others in ways that bring greater understanding and harmony. Megan Hauser says Spotify thinks lullabies are your jam because for a couple weeks they put your child to sleep. The truth of aggregation, of metadata, is that the for you of it all gets its power from modeling everyone who is not, in fact, me. I am typological, a predictable deviation from the mean. The you that my devices know, the me that my devices know, is a shadow where my data peers have been. Language is the tool that renders multiple human minds into a single network, allowing for collaboration in ways unimaginable for any other species on the planet, and absolutely everything used, from the plates food to the books that we're reading. An LLM, which is a large language model, for example, OpenAI's ChatGPT or Anthropic's Cloud, the original goal was to predict what would come next. These models are aggregates of all human words digitally available, and they collect patterns looking at what usually will come next, what will usually happen next. Unexpected properties emerge. It predicts the next word, ultimately modeling meaning and context. Different moods and emotions make for different patterns of words, and the LLM, the large language model, ends up modeling not just human thought, but pathos as well, starting to sound human. No one had theorized that you could model intelligence and emotion simply by learning to predict the next word. And this wows us, which puts us at risk because we tend to worship what wows us. And we could say it's so messianic, it's so Mashiachtic, it's so cool and neat, and we should build it up to the sky. Or we could say that what am I providing to the world that's unique and authentic that only a human being can provide? These tools serve and enlighten humankind. Most, if not all, are collaborative. We face monumental challenges today in areas of highly complex systems. Specialization has hindered medical care from seeing the holistic human being, and other holistic sciences such as environmental studies, energy conservation, and urban planning present complexity beyond the pale of our current tools. So what shines us through is the realization we are truly many souls that are one in a world that is astonishingly one in its multifarious ways, reflecting the absolute infinite oneness of the Creator. Compared with the Tower of Babel, we might imagine God speaking to them and us. You need to do this right, and to do that, you first need to appreciate the gamut of your diversity scattered all over the planet. With many thousands of languages and thousands of cultures and billions of individual perceptions of life, then you can come back and build this tower so that each one of those unique experiences will shine within it. We might feel that there's nothing we can do about this, that I'm just a cog in the wheel, and it's true. Much of technology abuse is the fault of the fiduciary infrastructure that governments have largely ignored or perhaps helped create. But large part is up to the individual. We can self-inquire, what do I want to achieve? What unique value does this achievement provide to the world? The ultimate tikkun for the Tower of Babel will be the Beit HaMikdash built by Mashiach, because Mashiach is not just a person, but an idea that this world is essentially good and divine and worth our investment. To reveal that a building of purpose, not grandiosity, but to shine divine light into the world, to illuminate creation with meaning, and each individual with his or her purpose. Humanity as one in beautiful, diverse awareness. Tamar taback says that when we look at Keser, the crown, it's spiritual. Then we have Chachma Bina, wisdom and knowledge. This is intellectual. Then we have Chesed, Gevur, Tiferet, emotional. Netzach, Hod, Yisod is instinctual. Malchus is physical. So we have all these levels. I think it's worth it to expand this. We're talking about technology, which is kind of intellectual, but we see here it's in this larger field. And I want to share a little bit from the family in terms of this social, a lot of us nowadays have been talking about families, functional families, dysfunctional families. So there's this personal aspect too, not just being a one cog in the collective. To make it personal, Laura Connell says we untangle from the family dysfunction, which requires us to let go of the false hope that they will understand us. It's like asking a machine to understand us when it can't. So we recognize they might even have a vested interest in not understanding us. It has nothing to do with how well we present the facts, when their aim is to avoid looking at themselves, which may mean they'll have to change. When we let go of this false hope that family members will change, it gives us the freedom to focus on our own healing rather than being consumed with seeking validation from families that do get us. And of course, it requires reparenting ourselves, which is giving ourselves the acceptance and love and care and soothing attention we always wanted and needed, but we gave up on our own wants and needs to ensure we remained attached to parents in an intact way. And also this reparenting helps the inner child from self-sabotaging when it's trying to keep us safe. And that includes reaching out to those who never gave us what we needed, people who are replacing the family dynamic. We might have false hope. If we're good enough, we'll get what we crave. But those short-term solutions hurt us in the long run, thinking of addictions and coping mechanisms that are designed only for rescuing us from an immediate pain, but not to maintain success. But these less urgency, reactivity outbursts, and more mature decision-making and calm, self-assuredness, emotionally regulated responses is what happens when we operate from the adult self by healing the inner child. Keeps us steady on the path of self-actualization and fulfillment instead of people-pleasing and survival modes. For someone to break through to a new life that doesn't revert to the old patterns, we have to reframe some of the fundamental ways we've been operating, which can mean getting rid of those like tough love, emotional avoidance we may not have even realized that we live with, more than just silencing the inner critic and having more self-kind. It's more than just silencing the inner critic. We actually need like that self-kindness, self-compassion. It's about letting go of toxic positivity, like others have it worse, everything happens for a reason. These pep talks that prevent us from accessing the very emotions that help us heal, which could be resentment, anger, disappointment. And because we start accepting these emotions, all of them, without judgment, we give ourselves the chance to benefit from their transformative power, even if this is the first time we allowed ourselves to be okay with how we feel rather than trying to change it. And we'll stop here. That's all for now. And I wish you all the best. Okay. Bye.